It's hard to believe the truth. Wanna be like the rest. When they leap to their death, let another man's action determine your next move.
What's happening, good people? Welcome to the Evening Social Podcast, live audience Taco Tuesdays, here at 1739 Gallery. We appreciate everybody for coming out. I am Coach Mo.
And I'm Jabril Janae.
And we are here with this week's guest, Miss Rachel Russell. Before we get too far started, we want to start with something that we call our Speaking Truth to Power segment. All right? So we're going to move into Speaking Truth to Power with Jabril Janae.
All right. To serve means to attend. It means to provide service and respect. That's something that's lacking in society today. Everybody seems to demand something and have a sense of entitlement for something that they're not willing to give themselves. The average conversation always starts out with what you bring to the table, right? Versus how can I serve you? And if you think about it, it's a lot of irony in that mindset, right? Replenishment is necessary. Nothing can survive on its own, right? So I challenge you to think outside of yourself. I challenge you to love freely, to water freely, to love and give intentionally. And just see how your life starts to prosper beyond what you can even see in front of you right now. The guest that we have here tonight has dedicated her life to service for our community, and she gives selflessly. It's something that we all can take a lesson from and a page from out of her book.
So at this moment, what we want to do is do what we call give oxygen.
Yeah.
That's something that we do. A lot of people say different things, but our platform is to do several things. It is to put in front of our community and our youth people who are thriving in a professional manner, people that they can look at and emulate to see that are doing these things. But it's also to give oxygen, to give life, to breathe into you, appreciate for what you do. Big ups from us, and to help you continue to do the things that you do. So we appreciate all the service that you've done, and we want to give you oxygen to continue to do some of the service that you will do. All right. So let's I gotta put this in. If I don't do this, I'll be in trouble. First, I gotta make sure that we understand that tonight's live audience Taco Tuesdays is brought to you with T-Dog Southern Eats and Taste of Flavor. Our YouTube Live is brought to you in part by New Wall Street, an investment education company. Our episode is brought to you in part by Jenna Club TV and brought to you by Wilson's Pizza and Grill off of 1801 Quindaro Boulevard. Have to also let everyone know that we are here at the elegant 1739 Gallery, right on the corner of 18th and Walnut in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, I see the vibe.
And then I got to make sure that we understand that our segment partners are in the house too. With Sweetie's Teas, he's right outside. Best tea is homemade. Sweetie's Tea, and then also Drip Ultra Pure Water, and then we can't forget, my man. You know what I'm saying? Keep me lifestyle. Truth to Reason. Check them out. TruthToReason.com. All right, my man.
I am gonna say, man. I was gonna let it slide, and I just said,
okay. Let me finish my stuff. Let me finish. Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. But we also want to announce that we got a new clothing sponsor for my co-host. You know what I'm saying? She's going to be laced. She was last week. It's coming back. She'll be laced in that Brainiac 91. All right. Alright, so coming up, big up to Miss Kamisha, appreciate the love, you know what I'm saying, but we just got that together, and now she'll be on there, she just wanted to make sure it come in.
Thank you, Kamisha. Yeah, I'm gonna rock it hard too.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about, growing up, so talk about, where were you born?
I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yes, I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay, so my mom was from Newport.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
she from Newport.
I know. That's where
Okay.
we used to have family reunions.
Okay.
Newport Beach.
Yeah, okay. And so I've been to there. I've been to Hot Springs.
Yep.
I've been to Fayetteville. You know,
Very
I've been
touristic
down
places.
in there. Yeah, well, I've been there. I've been to Newport too.
Yep.
But you know, I've been to the other places too. When we went to Newport, I was like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
hear you.
All right. So you were there. So how did you get to Kansas?
So how did I get to Kansas? So my mom found her life partner when I was 7 years old. He had moved here, and so she made, after college, she made the transition here, and we moved here, and I lived in Timberland Apartments next to the old Bannister Mall. I'll never forget it. Yeah, and that's how we got here.
Okay. So now I gotta switch to this. Okay.
Okay.
So you were over there in Bannister Road.
Right.
In Missouri.
In
All right,
Missouri.
in Missouri. When did you migrate to Kansas?
When did I migrate to Kansas? In 1999.
To the better side of
To
the-
the better side,
Yeah.
yes. Kudos to that.
Go!
Kudos to
Let's
that.
go.
In
We
99.
in Missouri right now.
Okay. I moved to Missouri in 93. We moved to Kansas in 99.
Okay. So in '99 you're in Kansas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So talk about the schools you went to. Let's talk a little bit about grade school. What grade school did you go to?
Yeah. So I went to Crestview Elementary, which is in North Kansas City.
Okay.
And then we, for a very short stint, lived in Liberty, and so I went to, I don't even remember the name of the elementary school there, but I went to
Okay.
junior high, and right before I went to junior high, or right after, I guess, we moved to Kansas, and I went to Piper Middle School and high school for the rest of my education,
Okay.
K through 12.
Okay.
Okay. And what year did you graduate?
2007.
So you're a pirate.
I'm a pirate.
She a
Yep.
Piper pirate.
I'm a Piper pirate.
I like that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So
Represent.
tell me something. And I gotta ask this, and I'm asking this for my personal knowledge, but also for our youth. So talk about, because I've talked to several people from Piper that went graduated from Piper. Talk to me about, was there an adjustment when you went to Piper from where you come from before the schools? It was an adjustment, and if so, what was that adjustment like?
Yeah. So I think the biggest adjustment, being born in Little Rock, Arkansas, most people look like me. When I moved to Piper, most of the folks did not look like me. I made up 10% of the class population of people that looked like me. We used to have our black student table. We tried to, fight for a black student union and try to have our voices heard. And so I think the most obvious was that that folks didn't look like me. I think the next part is that my parents weren't handed a silver spoon. And so that was another, while a lot of my peers, they were able to have they knew what car they was gonna have before they were even able to drive. For my parents, we had to work hard for everything. And so my mom and dad put themselves through college, their masters. My mom has her PhD now. And so just that socioeconomic status that many people elate to living in Piper, and what that experience may perceive to be like, that's not the case for everyone. And so I think those two things, both race and socioeconomic status, were the two major differences between where I lived in Missouri and where I lived in middle school and high school.
What type of, with it being such a culture shock for you, how do you think that played a part with you mentally and socially?
Yeah. So my mom was a teenage mom. She had 2 kids before she was 17. I was pregnant at 15, so I not only was this black child, but I also was now, as a sophomore, this black child that was carrying a baby in a classroom where this was different. And so I think that in itself, trying to fit in, trying to be cool, this is what they say cool kids do, trying to be popular, all of those things to make my claim for why I should be somewhere, even though I didn't have to do that. As an adult, I now can reflect and say, hey, I didn't have to be a part of those circles because now I still am uniquely who I am. So,
So, I wanted to ask you this about that part. Can you talk to just a little bit about like the social emotional part of that part of it, being a young teen mother and then going to school and being in that. The reason I'm asking, and everything transcends to our listeners and our audience being able to relate to some of the things that you're going through, because we have a lot of our listeners going through that. We have some young mothers, we have some those who are dealing with that high school. I want to talk about a little bit about how that was and how you dealt with that. Not just, but if you don't mind talking a little bit about how you dealt with that, because I'm sure it was emotional, it was social emotional type of event.
So, for me, being a teen parent, I kept it to myself for a while.
Okay.
I didn't come out till I was 8 months pregnant, and I did golf. I wore hoodies. So for me, I felt like if people knew, they would be ashamed. I also grew up in a very religious home, and so we went to church faithfully. My parents were teen ministry leaders, and so just all the aspects of feeling like if I told anybody, everybody would be so disappointed. And so I think for my mental health, the biggest piece was not feeling like I had anybody to talk to or anyone that understood what I was going through. I knew my mom had gone through it, but she had blossomed into something else, and so I didn't know that was an opportunity. I think the hardest, we have friends, and sometimes we have people that we're just trying to be cool around, and so even for those folks I didn't want to be another statistic, so in my mind it was like, if I say this, then people will be like, I have all these things that they say I am, or, oh, look at that poor black girl, she's pregnant. And so it took a toll on me. It was hard. It was hard to, navigate the world of school, navigate coming home, and just trying to keep it to myself. And it ate me up inside a lot when I reflect on, what opportunities I maybe missed by not sharing with other people what truly was going on with me. So
When you say that you kept it to yourself, did your parents know?
they did not. So I literally wore a hoodie and sweatpants everywhere I went. I didn't quit playing golf. I stayed the basketball coach manager. So I was doing everything that normal teenagers are doing, and nobody ever thought anything, because who's walking miles and miles as a pregnant person? I just did a really good job of hiding it, and so my parents didn't know until I think I threw up 3 times in a row, and that was when my mom was like,
Okay.
I think we need to take you to the doctor. And then I was like, I think I already know, but I'm gonna play along until we get there.
So, can we talk just briefly about when it was known, and then dealing with that part of it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I found out I was pregnant, the first thing my mom said was, we about to go over to his mama house, and we gonna sit here and we gonna tell her. And so that was, we literally went the same day. And so after that, it was letting my teachers know. And I think that was the biggest shock for me, was that people were willing to support me and be like, now it makes sense why you've been falling asleep in my class. Now, like, all of the things made sense to people. And so I think they wrapped their arms around me. My peers threw me a baby shower. And so that moment that I thought the hardest thing to tell everyone else, it ended up being like, oh, we have supports. We can help you. And so I think that was a life lesson that I'll never forget. I'm still prideful today. It's hard for me to ask for help, but knowing that people are actually out there and care genuinely, that's something that I'll probably carry with me forever.
I think it's important to note that pride is such a disturbing characteristic, right? And it stifles us, right? Like I'm thankful that you had the opportunity to step outside of yourself and get help and get support, even though they had to pull it out of you. I noticed so many times, especially with the young adults, hiding things takes such a toll on you. And like if you would just tell somebody, right, then you can lift so much burden off yourself.
Yeah.
So look here, little kids, don't be lying. Don't be lying.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Yeah, let it
What is
out.
it? Free your mind.
And the rest will fall.
Okay. All right. So now, as we talk about that, I'm not digressing, but I want to go back to just talk about some relationships just a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk just a little bit about family relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with relationship with mom. All right. So how was the relationship with mom growing up?
Yeah, my relationship with my mom today is still my best friend. She is my #1 supporter. But growing up, my mom was working hard, and so oftentimes she dropped us off at grandma and grandpa's house so she could go do her classwork, so she could prioritize, because she knew the bigger picture. So in order for my kids to have a better life, I made these choices of being a teen parent. She said, you work hard for everything you strive for. And so while growing up, I won't say I didn't see my mom a lot. She's a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta. Her sorority sisters, all of them took us in. My sister used to practice her little ski-wee, and she used to get herself in trouble. But that same support that I later on saw as a young mom was the same support that my mom was receiving in college, and also from her colleagues and her professors. Was they knew who we was. When we were the kids sitting in the back hallway because her class didn't get out till 9, they knew who we were. They knew not to mess with us because they were like, hey, those are Lisa's kids. They cool, they just gonna sit there. So me and my mom have a really great relationship. Growing up, she kept us fed, she kept us clothed, and I'm really thankful for her.
I was just gonna ask about your father. Was he ever in the picture, or?
Now she want to ask me. Like she got to ask me to ask a question. This is something else, boy. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Did I say that? Did I say that out loud?
So
my
bad.
bad. Go ahead. My bad. I'm just saying, they do me bad on the other one. Now they want to act like they asking me something. But it's okay. Go ahead.
You need to heal. You need
It's
to.
all right.
You need
Just
to
heal,
heal.
bro. Come on now. I'm gonna stay over here and just heal.
Yeah. So my dad wasn't really around. Unfortunately, that was a choice he made when I was born, was not to be around. It's a hard one, and an unfortunate, because even as an adult today, I wish he was around. He's now passed, but
Sorry to hear that.
someone
Sorry.
that
Sorry.
I wish I could have made him proud. So.
Well, thank you for talking about that. I know that's hard sometimes, but some of our youth are dealing with some of the same situations, so it's good to see. Well, I don't say good that happened. What I'm saying is good for them to be able to know that somebody went through that and made it through it to the other side.
Yeah.
And still going.
Yeah, my stepdad, as people would say, I don't even put stepdad in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
He stepped up and he's been there. My kids call him grandpa. My mom found somebody who loves her for her and her 2 kids and all of that. And so that didn't stop her from finding love, or for some man stepping up and being who my father should have been.
I don't want to disrespect the father that you do have in your life, but I just wonder how do you feel like you still found a way to accomplish the things that you've accomplished and to become the woman that you have today with the disappointment, right, and the burden that clearly we can see on you? Like, how do you push through it?
Yeah. I think I don't let anybody determine who I am or who I'm going to be based on their actions. So his absence isn't going to be the reason that I don't succeed.
Right.
You know, I won't be another statistic. I won't be someone that they say won't make it because I only had a one-parent home. It's a mindset for me of, hey, I can accomplish greatness whether I got two parents in the home, one parent in the home, or no parent in the home.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have both now, but yeah, it's a mindset thing for me.
Nice.
So you said mom used to drop you off at grandparents and stuff. So talk about the role grandparents play
Yeah,
in your life.
yeah. My grandma was a seamstress, and so
My mom is. Okay.
that good old Dillard's.
Yeah.
And so she spent most of her time preparing our breakfast. I'm a rice, butter, biscuits, and sausage kid. And so I knew at 6 a.m. my grandpa was going to be up making that. He worked on the railroad, and so, you know, he worked the shift that nobody else wanted to work, and then grandma made sure we got to sleep and those types of things. And my grandparents are amazing people, and yeah, they took us to soccer and volleyball and all of those things.
So now this is, with all that, this is one of the most important questions that is going to come out of tonight.
Okay.
All right. Now you said a rice, Smith, okay?
I was
So
thinking the same thing.
what's on your rice? What's on your rice? Is you
Butter
putting
and
sugar?
sugar.
No, you still in wine now. You still in wine. Okay, you still in wine. Okay, I'm just checking.
Childish,
Okay,
because
I'm just checking. Okay.
I was wondering the same thing.
I was
like,
thinking
man,
that. I had
we
soon as
should've
I couldn't
asked.
even hear nothing else. Like, she talking about rice. Okay. Let me see what she talking
Better
about.
be
But
some
they came
sugar.
from Arkansas.
Huh?
They roots is from Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
So they,
She know what's
all right, you
up.
kept it. You didn't lose it.
I didn't lose
Okay,
it.
so you didn't get too black.
You eat frog legs?
I sure do.
Well, I
You
had.
eat chitlins?
No.
No.
Okay. That's a no.
No.
None of that?
None of that. No, I don't do that. But frog legs,
Squirrel?
frog, I have tried it.
Oh, just tried it.
I have tried it. Yeah,
I
but
had
that's
to
not
try it.
something.
What do it taste like? Chicken? Everything tastes like chicken, low key.
Roadkill. Everything that comes off the road tastes
Tastes
like
like-
roadkill to me. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna just say this. I tried it, but I didn't digest it. It didn't go down.
That's not for you.
Yes, no,
Oh,
no.
Your Newport roots didn't come that
Nah,
far
I didn't
up?
come
Okay,
back to
okay,
that.
okay.
No, it didn't kick in on that.
Rachel low key, but
It's okay, it's okay.
You gave it to me.
She can get them in. Like, listen, this is what this is about. It's cool, I'm alright. It's okay. You know, so what did you do with it?
Oh, I don't eat it anymore.
Anymore.
No.
So you
gonna
notice
lie.
she said anymore.
That's
So
that
you
Piper.
so once you moved out to Piper, then y'all got blackish and stopped eating it. Y'all got the Piper and the family next door can smell it when y'all stop tap out. Okay. Alright, we gonna let it go.
That was good.
We
No,
don't let
he
it
got
go.
his jab back.
It's okay. Alright. But that's listen, you know what? She instigated. She
I'll
could have
let you
let
have
it
that
go.
one.
She could have let it go. I wouldn't gonna say nothing, but she poking.
Poking.
I'm here for entertainment.
Oh, okay.
Entertainment
Now she here for entertainment.
Earlier
Okay.
it was moral support. Now
Now it's entertainment. You see how she jumps? She switched. You see?
See how I've been.
She go for she
I tell you,
get to it.
I
All
tell
right.
you.
So as we come in here, we're in college. We're not college yet. We're about to get to college. We're in high school. We're finishing up in high school, and so you had your daughter while you're still in high school. Okay. So where are you at now in your mind frame about where you're going from college? Because we're
Yeah.
gonna, from school
From
to
high school.
college. Like, where are we going? We're gonna get to college, but I'm asking now, preparing us and letting our audience be able to hear, where is your mindset as you're finishing up high school toward college?
Yeah, I'm dedicated to finishing high school. I put in the time. I, of course, had to let go of some of my extracurricular things now that I was a mother, so no more golf. But my mindset is on the goal of finishing high school. So whether that meant peer mentoring classes with other folks who are teen parents. I participated in a couple of programs, Project Eagle, Rachel's House, to just get me to that finish line, to be with like peers, to get me to the finish line. One piece of that for me was making sure that I got to college and that I wasn't just getting by, but that I was prepared. I wanted to go to KU. That's,
Okay.
back in my day, that was the big
Was it?
shiny thing that everybody wanted to do. And so I finished high school early, so I was able to finish all my credits. I graduated in December of 2006, not 2016. And I started off at KU in January of 2007.
Okay. So we're gonna move into our college segment. Now, our college segment is brought to you by Sweeties Tea. Just gotta make sure we brought them out. Sweeties Tea brings us this. Now, if you haven't tasted this, we gotta taste this down and let it go.
Yeah.
Which one?
That's watermelon.
Okay.
This is see what's
I
this?
do. I'm from Arkansas.
Let's
Of
see,
course
what's
I like
this?
watermelon.
Oh no!
What's
oh
that?
no!
Pineapple mango?
No, that's not. That's they don't want that. That's the. Oh,
What's this?
what's this? Yeah, they don't want that. They don't want that.
Oh, this is the sweet.
That's the sweet, and then what's that's the watermelon?
This watermelon.
Oh, okay.
The sound of pop.
So
Which
we
one
gonna
do you have?
we gonna crack this up. This that.
Is it strawberry pineapple?
That's not. This one's got the lid is messed up on.
Well, I tell you, you can't trust the people you roll with.
The lid is messed up on this one. You can't really read what this say on this one. Let's see. This. I don't have my readers right now. They broke today. So
Put 'em on.
they broke today. I was at the after school program and they broke. Man, I can't get them on. Well, can you bring it for me, please, Rob?
we cracking
Bring
these
it for me,
open?
please. But I'm gonna crack this one now.
We ready?
You know,
We ready.
let's see what we do with this Sweeties tea.
Right, cheers.
I don't know what this.
Yeah.
Let me taste it and see what it tastes like, Tom Grant. Let me see what this tastes like, cause I done had all of them. Let me see what this is.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, y'all wouldn't have wanted this one.
Wait, what?
What is it?
Y'all wouldn't have wanted this one. I'm sorry.
Let me see the
Y'all
lid.
wouldn't have wanted this.
Just something they threw in there.
This ain't what you want.
Somehow I feel like it's strawberry pineapple, and that's gonna sit not right with me.
It's not strawberry pineapple.
Okay.
I can see good enough to see that it ain't that. I can't read exactly what it is, but I can see that it don't say strawberry. It don't have that many words on it.
Oh, okay.
Do it say strawberry?
Nah,
Oh,
man,
okay.
you straight.
So-
Sweeties tea though.
yeah, Sweeties
Yes.
tea. So I can't let the Tom Grinch know when we drinking Pango, cause he hoard the Pango. I can't let him know whenever we drink Pango.
Man, she got 16-ounce bottles now too, just so y'all know.
Yeah, she got them 16 ounces. They go hard.
Hard.
Yeah. So let's talk about college. You
Better than
said
McDonald's.
I ain't gonna deep those like that. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, she went there.
See what I'm saying? They just want me to scoot over here and be quiet. Man, let you do that thing. Okay. Anyway, here it is. You said KU. Rock Chalk Tail was the goal. But you did get there, right?
I
You
did get there.
So let's talk about it. So that was your first choice,
That was my first choice.
okay? And you got to your first choice.
Yes.
So talk about once you got there. What was it like?
Yeah. So what was it like when I got there? So, of course, with research, I got to move into what was known as Stouffer Place, which was a place where I didn't have to live in the dormitories. It was still on campus, but I got to live there with my child.
Okay.
But it was that same similar experience. My parents were dedicated to making sure that I had somewhat of a similar experience than my peers, and so we figured out the daycare part, we figured out the class part, but I also was only 17, and so everything required some type of parental permission, and so we were working through that part. But I think the biggest piece for me in my first semester there was I would go to class and my peers would be talking about how they were hanging out or this, that, and the other. And so for me, I made choices in life. And so, but I shared that feeling of feeling like, Mom, I'm missing out, or Dad, I'm missing out. And so my parents were privileged enough to be able to come and get my kiddo on the weekend. This is during the Brandon Rush era. And so, NCAA titles, all of that, the cool kids, the Mangino time. And so everybody was excited at KU, except for me in a sense, because I felt like, I can't go to the party, I can't do this, I'm still young, I got this kid.
So you wasn't at the Jefferson Commons at all?
You
didn't think I knew. Okay,
funny.
Yeah, okay.
Don't let me tell all the kids all the things.
She didn't answer the question.
My bad. Well, we're going to skip that. Okay, go ahead.
But, and so by summer I was able to be able to enjoy those delights of being a college student and being able to go. And so it was hard. It was really hard because it was like I was going to class, I pick up my kid from daycare, and I immediately had all that on top of homework. And so it challenged me a lot because now I'm trying to hang out with people again. I'm trying to get back to those pre-high school days before I had a baby, where I was just like, I want to be fun and hang out, and I want to know what happened and those types of things. And so, but I also had a parent to struggled because I was trying to be too cool, or my kid was up, and so I learned some hard lessons. I also learned a lesson, and if you have too many bad grades, that they put you on probation, and that was eye-opening as well, of just like, that same thing they did in high school or middle school when you got in trouble for not having good grades, they do that in college too. And so it was always a transition and a learning time for me, but my goal was at that time The Wedding Planner. If you remember that movie, I was like, I want to be J-Lo, and so I was going to school to be a business teacher, but in order to pass business classes, you got to get good grades. And so prior to the recession, that was my next goal, was being that wedding planner. And so I was at KU trying to reach that dream.
So what was your official major?
My official major was, I didn't finish that one, business administration, though, somewhere in that school of business world.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What does Rachel's identity look like
Today?
at this time? No, at that time. I mean, you're a new mom, a new college student, re-entering the social world. How much self-awareness did you have? Or do you feel like you had at the time?
Almost none. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was trying to get back to being able to fit in. So it was not as though I wanted to reach my goals, but I also didn't know who I still was, because I had already done all these other things. And so I was still trying to find myself, and who I was, and truly what it was. Was I trying to live to be somebody else, or was I living to be me? And so I think, my freshman and sophomore year of college were definitely, who am I and who am I going to be? Because I thought I wanted to be J-Lo. Then everybody was like, the world is going to end. And so you had to be either a nurse or a teacher. And so then I decided I was going to be a teacher. And so,
How you get to Emporia State?
That's how I got to Emporia State.
From now changing to be a teacher.
Yeah. so I did in 2008, 2009. I did some transition. I was trying to figure it out still. The recession was around. Everybody was frantic. As an adult, adulting was hard, and so I did some research. I came home. I went to KCKCC, finished my initial associate's degree credits, got some family support, and then after that associate's part, I was like, where am I going to go next? And Emporia State, I'm always trying to be the best. It's the best teachers college, and it's right here in Kansas. So then I also met a man that was my past husband, and so I moved to Emporia and was like, oh, I'm going to go become a teacher, and I'm going to follow this boy, because that's what my mama did too, right? Like, that's what you do.
Low
So,
key,
yeah.
Rachel said, I met this man who was my past husband.
I'm just keeping it honest. I mean, we have a good relationship now, so, hey,
I love it.
it happens. People change.
Okay. So let's move now, because we got to get into current and more as we get to. Let's get into like your career and family life. So let's talk about AmeriCorps Vista.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I had to research it because when I seen this, I'm like, what in the world is this? I said, she done went into the armed forces.
It just sound like
I'm like, she done went to the
And
armed
the spell
forces. What's going on?
corrected it.
Yeah, I'm thinking what's going on. So, but then when I did my research, it's an anti-poverty program, you know, to provide needed resources to nonprofit organizations, public agencies, you know, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is really about public service. This is really transforming you into who you become to be in community engagement and public service. So talk about your time as an AmeriCorps Vista.
Yeah. So throughout this life experience, the part that I don't think gets elevated as much is that there was a part where I had hit rock bottom.
Okay.
And I was now a parent of 2 children.
When was this?
In 2012.
2012, okay.
Yeah. And my mom was going through some health issues, and so I was struggling. Things weren't looking bright for me.
One more question. Had you graduated?
That's what
I did not.
Okay.
I
All right.
did
I
not.
just want to
Yep.
paint a little picture.
Yes.
You hadn't graduated 2012. You hit this part. Okay.
Yep. And so I had hit rock bottom as far as I had credit cards. I had done all the things that, you know, try to keep you afloat, financially, mentally, and just physically. And so when that had happened in 2012, I decided to come back home. When I came home, I decided to be a part of a social service program here in Wyandotte County, or in Wyandotte County. I had completed that program, and then there was an opportunity to become a Vista. Because that program had helped me, I was like, hey, I'm working at Chipotle, I think at the time, or McDonald's somewhere, fast food job. And so they said, hey, what do you think about being AmeriCorps Vista? And I said, tell me a little bit more. They said, it'll help you in your career. It'll help you maybe get to those things you wanted to do earlier on. And so I decided to become AmeriCorps Vista. And it really, for me, was the behind